guilty of crime.
Hello, everybody. What's up? I am Jay with Guilty of Crime, and we're back. All right. Happy Monday. I know today is President's Day, so many people might be out, I don't know, shopping, doing something with the family, being at home. I don't know. Whatever you're doing, thank you for being here. Do me a favor and hit that like button on your way in. If you head out, help the channel grow by hitting the like button and sharing with your friends and family. This is how we grow the channel. So thank you all for being here. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. You guys spoke and I listened. Now, there's a few of you that said, Jay, move on to other things today, but I plan on moving on to other things, and I have been. But this week is the Remembrance of Madeline Soto week. Okay. So I wasn't going to cover the remembrance at St. Cloud Park at 5 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday, but one of the ladies from Florida reached out to me and said, Hey, Jay, if we can get a stream going live, I will film for you so that your audience and all your people that are Justice for Madeline Soto can see the remembrance of not only Madeline's birthday, but the 1 year of her life being taken from her. So I figure, like Ritz, we got here that's from Belgium. You guys would love to see what's going down at her remembrance. Maybe we'll get a spot. Maybe we'll see some of her family members there. We might see some of the Sotos. I don't know. I don't know if Tyler plans on coming, the Wallace family, her dad, but there is going to be a 5 o'clock thing at the park where they're going to put a bench. Eventually, they're going to be selling t-shirts for fundraising, and I've been asked to live stream it for you guys on Saturday. So this is day 1 of 6 of remembering Madeline Soto. Okay. So welcome everybody. Welcome Life Artist. Welcome Thomas Karras, Justice for Maddie. So day 1 of 6. All right. Today we're going to talk about Jennifer Soto knows about the death and abuse of Maddie, and here are the reasons why. So we're going to go over this. And I got to tell you guys, I really, really hope that the police officers and the just law enforcement in Florida is looking at all of this evidence here. You got to remember, they had a tracker on Jen's car and Stephan's car in the beginning. That is how they knew that Stephan went back to Maddie's body that night. Okay, so they knew that. So that means they were tracking Jen's car as well. It means that they could have phone line trackers. They could have things on the phone that, just like they did with the Adelsons for years, they were tracking. They used Wendy Adelson as a witness, and then we hear that she's going to get arrested. But with Jen Soto, it's a bit different. I think they're laying back and collecting evidence on the beat. I love your channel, Jay. Thanks for covering these stories. And don't move on yet. I think this is the way justice keeping Maddie's name out there, and eventually Jen getting nabbed. And that's why we're here today. I watch so much true crime, and I do know that officers will put out a press conference and say something like, we're no longer looking at the mother as the suspect, while they're tracking her devices and telephones, you guys. So this is not unheard of. That's what we're going to start with today. And then we're going to go into the details. Thanks to Grish. Hopefully my man comes on. I tagged him in it. We're going to go over some of those things. beautiful, beautiful connections in the case and what we think Jen Soto knows. Again, this is for entertainment purposes only. Okay, so anything that I say here is allegedly, and nothing solid, right? We don't work with law enforcement, but we are just allegedly speculating, as one would say. Thank you, Nina Moore, for becoming a YouTube member, guilty of crime, and now you're green. Welcome. Welcome, Indy Isham. And, Regina, I'm not going to move on from the case. I do like to cover other cases. I do stream about 5 times a week. So in those 5 days a week, I can do, some of Maddie's and cover other cases, which I'm doing right now. Thank you. This XO girl XO Tiff. Thank you so much for the $4.99 super sticker or super chat. Jay is a rock star. There you go. I'll take that. Love you guys. Smash the like button and let's get into this first clip and let's make you feel it. Let's make you feel it like I felt it 5 months ago, that for me and those that were there when the cops put out a press conference saying they're no longer looking at Jen Soto. Now, is this a tactic? Next, we're going to get into the video of the reasons why. And are they connecting these dots, the police officers? Microwave Cheese, thank you so much for the 5 guilty of crime memberships. Welcome, Crystal, JPL, mentally. It would be hard to cover too many children, but I do, and I do that. Luckily, I'm able to sort that out with myself and my children, right? Let's fill it. Let's go. Let's you guys fill this, and then we're gonna get into why I think the cops are still looking at her and what they may be looking at and how they're adding things up. So let's start with August. 5 months ago, Madeline Soto, police say they have no plans on charging Soto. Now, this is what sources say to the media. Elmo, my person, Elmo, I want to thank you. I heard you on Turtle Island last night being so gracious and talking about guilty of crime. Saving guilty of crime on Turtle Island. You said such nice things. Best host. All right. Thank you. And we have the best mods and the best crime family, as somebody said on there. We're the crime family. All right. Thank you, Elmo. I appreciate you so much, more than you all know. All right. Listen up. 5 months ago, and then I'm going to go back to some new content that came out yesterday. All right. And we're going to get into all the reasons why I believe Jen Soto knows everything that happened in both cases and why I believe cops are laying low and collecting evidence, because right now it's all circumstantial. Let's go.
Soto now since the beginning, since she was reported missing in Orange County in late February. Good afternoon. I'm Darlene Jones.
And I'm Greg Wilmoth. This is a look at the 13-year-old girl's picture, and investigators ultimately found her dead in St. Cloud. This was back in early March. Police arrested this man, Stephan Sterns, for her murder. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. Sterns is the boyfriend of Maddie's mother. We interviewed them both before law enforcement found the teen's body. Channel 9, Shannon Butler joins us live in studio for this breaking update. And Shannon, sources have told you the mother of Madeline Soto has not broken the law.
That's right. And the interview with Soto takes place on February 27th, about 11:30 p.m., just after her daughter was reported missing. She has a hard time answering some of those questions, but sources tell me.
Right. And her not answering those questions is very circumstantial. They could charge her with lying. They could charge her with neglect, but they want more. And talking to an officer behind the scenes and prosecutors behind the scenes, they say that this is something that happens all the time. The law enforcement will put out a leak to the media saying, oh, we're not going to charge her, all while she gets comfortable. She gets comfortable talking on the phone. She calls people and she says more than she told the police officers, and they catch her in lies. Otherwise, they wouldn't have had a tracking device on her car. They would have only been looking at Stephan. So in my opinion, they put this out and they're still collecting evidence. Okay. We'll get into that right after this.
Nothing so far she has done has been criminal. So at least for now, no charges will be filed.
Really? Nothing criminal?
Jennifer Soto appears calm as she tells the Orange County detective the events surrounding her daughter's disappearance. She said at 11 p.m. that Sunday, just after her daughter's 13th birthday, she sent Madeline Soto and Stephan Sterns to bed together.
Is it normal for both of them to sleep in the same?
And see, just right there, you and I all think this is criminal. And that's why the entire world is looking at Jen Soto now and wanting her to be charged. Because with her dumb looking face right there, in my opinion, and what she's telling the detectives and asking, is it normal for both of them to sleep in the same room? We all say that's a crime right there. That's neglect. That's aiding. Is aiding a crime or whatever. That I've got a whole list of charges that they could give her, but they want more, you guys. So let's go. This lady.
Room. Sometimes when I really need a good night's sleep, I will send them upstairs. But when also a lot of times we will sleep together in the king size bed, all three of us, or sometimes Stephan will go upstairs and our bed alone. So it just really depends on what's going on that night with our schedules and what we're doing.
She said they have 2 roommates and another child that sleeps there sometimes, and that Maddie's bedroom is downstairs in the living room. She told investigators she thought that her daughter was getting ready for school the next morning, but she never actually saw her. She said she got.
And that's after she corrected herself, folks. After she corrected herself multiple times, multiple interviews. And we're going to play a big portion of this today and break it down the way Grish did, except we're going to talk about the logistics of the case and what we know. Now, Grish did a fantastic job of the video and learning the content and putting things together, but we're going to talk about what we know, what they've said, talk about the case file and how that relates. Josephine Fernandez, thank you so much for the $1.99 super sticker. As you guys know, this is a fan-funded channel, so everything that you put to me, well, 30% goes to YouTube. The rest comes here to fund the channel. So thank you guys. All right. This is crazy when we break this down.
Got up and went to a doctor's appointment and then got back to the house about 11 a.m.
When you got back, was Stephan here? I'm pretty sure he was, yeah. What was he doing? Just sitting in my room at my computer desk on his phone. Okay. What did you guys do? We chatted for a little bit. I asked him what had happened because he had called me earlier at 10. Pretty sure he called me around 10:18.
But according to investigators, that wasn't true because Sterns had already been seen driving out of the complex on video with a little girl slumped over in the front seat. Jen said it wasn't until after Madeline Soto did not come out of the school and was told she wasn't actually there all day that she started to worry.
That's when I knew something was truly wrong. And I'm not before that email or after that email, but I started panicking and freaking out because
Now, I'd like to know that too. I'm sure that her mom probably tells her all kinds of things and says that you're the one that did this. She puts the blame on her, which it is, but they are supporting her. As far as I know, they're hiding her out. They're supporting her, and they always have, because when we see Jennifer Soto moving back and forth in between the times where she didn't have a job or she was getting a new job, her and Stephan always needed to be together. So there could be a reason why Stephan could have access to that little girl, Madeline Soto. And her family is not in favor of that, but they are in favor of her. I got to tell you that they're probably not going to show up to Maddie's remembrance, which is a once in a lifetime thing for a child that got their life taken in a brutal way and was abused for so very long. So they just don't. They can't see eye to eye with us as the public and the people that are running the remembrance, that we all believe Jennifer Soto is in fact guilty. Okay, so I'm sure her mom's not too happy. Her sister backs her up and allegedly says things like, I can't believe you're looking at her, she's a grieving mother. So I doubt they're gonna go. I'm gonna be curious to see if the dad, Tatiana and Tyler, do show up. Yeah, now after she let the Woody Allen situation out of her mouth, how could law enforcement not dig in, push, and punish her? Exactly. So I think they're gathering evidence. She is going to be a key witness in this case. She was in the same bed, you guys. There's documented photos of Maddie being assaulted, and she was there that night. They were sleeping in the same bed at many times, and there was other times where she was home. They could place her at the house when he was assaulting her in that room number 4, and in her half of a room. And another thing I want to tell you guys before I get too ahead of myself, when they talk about one of the times she talks about moving Stephan out of her room and putting him into room number 4 because he got too messy. I want to piss you guys off right now real quick because I'm not happy about it. She tells the officers that she moved Stephan out of her room because he was a hoarder and he was too messy and he had too many things bunched up. Well, you guys, when we go back and look at that room number 4, that is not what a hoarder's room looks like. It's clean. It's clean so that you can take pictures. It's got a white background, a nice blanket, a clean dresser, everything tucked in the drawers. It's like a room that you would take pictures and sell CSAM with. So yes, he needed his own room and able to sell and trade the pictures of Madeline Soto without any identifying markers behind it. So remember that as we get to it. That's a big whopping lie when she says that. That's not the truth at all. That room is perfectly good, but it doesn't have identifying markers, and it has a GUN in the drawer, a big bottle of lotion, and all the necessities that you would need to film CSAM. All right. Thank you, Avis, so much. I'm glad you're here today. Good to see you. 5 Guilty of Crime memberships. Leanne Wilson, thank you so much for the $1 super sticker. All right, let's keep going. So remember that when she says that.
She should have been to school. She should have made it.
Jen's answers were hard to come by sometimes, and she told investigators she had taken medicine and was a little spacey, but nothing in this interview or any of the other evidence we received has given detectives a reason to charge her.
Right?
So something else Jen Soto told the investigators, she said that Stephan Sterns did not go with her to pick up Madeline Soto at school because he said he had a flat tire. Now that's true. Well, at least the flat tire part. He changed that tire near the same location where Madeline's body was found. Now, Greg, something important here, that it doesn't mean she'll never be charged if investigators find something else that would warrant charge.
Right. And there's warranted charges enough, you guys. Kim Casey, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. I really believe she's involved in selling pictures. Absolutely. That's why you would set up a room in your house with no identifying markers that could say this is in this house, in this room, no identifying blankets, nothing on the countertops, nothing on the dresser except a tripod for your phone to film it. And nothing in the background, nothing on the walls, nothing anywhere. That room number 4 had nothing except locks. And I believe those double, triple, quadruple locks were there so that roommates couldn't walk in when they were filming, okay? She knew it. She put them there for a reason. She took Maddie out of her room. Maddie didn't really need a room. She didn't need a room because she was either sleeping with Stephan and Jen, or they were in there filming. And then maybe when the roommates weren't there, he was assaulting her in that half bedroom. All right. So, I mean, this is complete and utter BS. And I believe the officers are definitely looking into more than circumstantial.
They would do that. But at least right now, this is where we stand.
So many parts of that interview, Shannon, so disturbing, including the little girl sleeping with her boyfriend and her on occasion. At 13. We'll see what happens, if anything. And that entire interview with Jennifer Soto is more than 33 minutes long, so we have obviously couldn't show it to you here, but we are going through all of the details and what was shared with deputies, and we'll have more from this compelling breaking news that Shannon broke on Eyewitness News at 5 and at 6.
All right. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to believe it. And it could be a leak for law enforcement just to be able to take their time and gather the right evidence, you guys, as well as not just gathering the right evidence, but letting her guard down as they do it. And thank you, Madeline Marriott, for the $5 Cash App. I do appreciate you. Yeah, this is absolutely crazy. Yeah, we are on part 3 of the Madeline Soto with Grish. And the reason we use this now, it's a little bit, the perspective is very, it's very unique thinking that Grish comes out with, but there's a lot of evidence in here that if police took a look at and they listened to what she said and they looked at the timeline. Now, so officers will do that. They'll take a look at a piece of evidence and they'll say, well, it might not be evidence yet, but they'll take a look and say, oh my God, there's the timeline break. There's what happened there. Oh, wait, she said that. Oh man, why was it connected that way? That's what we're going to talk about today. This is from Grish, part 3. If you guys didn't see it, I linked it below. without my commentary. But this just is a huge piece of, I believe, evidence in this case of the timeline that she moved in, she moved out, and why and how she knew about not only the death of Maddie, but the abuse happening. The timelines don't add up. And like I said, she gave this monster his own room for privacy purposes and to film and have their own space. Because if he was, we know that he was trading the CSAM and collecting other children's CSAM. It was not just Maddie on there, you guys. It was not just Maddie. So he, in order to get those, he had to be either trading or buying and selling. Okay. So trading, buying, selling, and contributing equals that's what he was doing with the photos and the video that he had of Maddie. All right, let's go. This is the very moment. You guys watch this. If you're not watching your TV or watching your phone, watch this. This part is very important. This is the moment where Stephan Sterns knows and knew he is caught. And then we're going to jump into Jennifer Soto and how that all crosses over. So thank you guys. All right, let's go.
I want to let you know you're not free to leave.
Ooh, thank you, Marcy.
You're being detained. Okay. Do you want to know what you're being detained for?
Yeah.
Capital S battery and possession of child abuse articles. Okay. So we're going to step out. If you need anything, please tap on this door. Okay. And there's going to be detectives outside that will be able to assist you. Okay. Well, good luck.
Now, after this video, you're going to think twice about, not only did she not know what was going on with the CSAM, but she knew about what was going on with the death and the abuse of Madeline Soto. And it was not premeditated so much as maybe there was something premeditated, like within the time frame of it happening, and then disposing of the body. That took the story to be told together. That took the scripting. That took for Jen to cover for Stephan and say, get a lawyer, and then him not talk, for Stephan to cover whatever Jen did and how she helped clean up. All right. So that's what we're talking about today, are those bits and pieces of how we know, in my opinion, that Jennifer Soto not only knows about the death of and abuse of Maddie, but how and why. Okay. So let's go.
To you, Mr. Is it Sterns? Yeah. Stern.
It's 4:20, by the way, Foxy. There you go. Woo! Thank you for gifting the membership. Here's the moment Stephan knows he's in trouble. And you guys, all opinions are welcome. Proud American says that's BS. If that was true, Jennifer Soto would be in handcuffs. That's not true. It doesn't mean, but we welcome all opinions. So you guys, if there's people that don't agree with it, absolutely, you're all good. Elmo, she's another Casey Anthony. Casey Anthony did it, in my opinion, and she's walking free. This is all in my opinion. So let's keep going. So gross.
To start part 3, we're going to pick up where we left off on part 2 with the body cam footage from February 26th. This is about a 6.5 minute clip. And just like the other times, we're just going to let it play back normal. And then I'm going to go back and we're going to go over the details.
All right. So this is really a telltale of how I believe Jen Soto knows about not only the CSAM and her contributing to the CSAM abuse and letting Stephan have his own room, letting him do it, letting him sell it, being part of it. But this is the part where she's not so much a grieving mother, but a mother that's afraid that she's going to get caught in this very moment as well. So if you don't believe that Jen Soto knows about that, hey, state your opinion. You're doing well. You're doing a fantastic job of keeping it classy on how you agree or disagree. But this right here should convince you. Now, Microwave Cheese says, I feel like law enforcement tend to drop the ball when they find and either get a confession or get incriminating evidence on another person's phone, then forget to search the other person or the family members. One find and bingo. That's another reason they feel like this predator is off of the streets. They don't have hard evidence on Jen. They can take their time. All right, welcome. Let's go. This is huge telltale right here.
Okay. It's just like, does she like have any places that you guys know that she'll usually be at? Any friend's house? Any places that like she likes to hang out?
Not typically, no.
Not typically?
No.
Okay. Just give me 1 second. Let me see if I get some.
Thank you.
No problem. And what school she goes to? 125. Do you have a picture of her? Can you airdrop it to me?
Yeah, I know. Let me see which picture. I don't know which picture.
Anything recently, probably from the birthday party, right?
And yeah, we're going to go back and watch this with the commentary. So I won't stop it too much just so you can see it. When we initially saw this, now this is just hours after she went missing. It's like 7:30 at night. She'd only been missing, according to Jen, for 3 hours because she went to school that day, didn't show up. So technically she'd be missing since like 7 or 8 a.m. according to Jen and Steph. And now, if you notice, Jen Soto always wears those long sleeves. We didn't see defensive marks on her hands or arms because she had a hoodie on the whole time. She went into the interview. Watch how she's dressed. Watch her long sleeve. Stephan Sterns, he's got a few scratches on him, but he's also convicted. So let's keep going. Thomas says, I feel like the prosecution doesn't want to drop the ball. They have enough evidence to charge Stephan Sterns, but probably exactly right now it's all circumstantial, and they don't want a circumstantial case.
Yeah, but I wasn't there, so I have to look at what's up.
Go ahead. That's what I'm about to grab right now. Yeah. All right, cool. Thank you.
Is this a good enough picture, or do you need a whole body picture?
Look at that face.
I got you. Okay, where's the photo? Right there.
It's on WhatsApp.
That's fine.
And we could all sit there and say, oh, this mother didn't go to her birthday party. She didn't have a picture of her, whatever. We know Jen Potato Soto. We know why we call Jen Potato Soto, because potatoes don't do anything. Potatoes just sit there and they let things happen. So her being a potato, you cannot charge for being a potato and doing nothing about it, but you can charge for knowing about it and doing nothing, turning a blind eye for all the years, and then giving your ex-boyfriend that's been a while on and off for years. And when you see this later, you'll be like mind blown why Stephan has access while he was out, in my opinion, trying to find other women that he could groom their children. Okay. So when he talked to one of the other ladies that he was trying to pursue, he told her that he woke up with a wood in the morning and was facing Maddie in the bed. He also talked about coming out of the bathroom naked. He was trying to get a feel for another mother and what they would let him do. Ultimately, he had to keep coming back to Jen the Potato Soto because she was the only one that was giving access like that. He went out there and tried to find it. I'm sure that he did. We heard about it. But he also at one point thought he was in love with Maddie, even with that stupid letter. I will always miss you. I will always. All right, Elmo, he will always regret doing what he did to Maddie because I think he's going to end up on death row as long as something crazy doesn't come out about Jen Soto. If he talks and brings Jen Soto in during the trial, he might not get the death penalty. They might do a lesser charge. That's the only thing that might save him. Thank you, Elmo, for the one guilty of crime membership. All right, this looks like a scared mom, not scared for her daughter, scared that she's about to get caught.
I saved it to my photos, so you could.
You saved it to your photos?
Yeah, we could just
Perfect.
retreat to the photos.
Okay, perfect. Give me a second. Okay. I'm gonna send it out right now to my other guys.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Yes, absolutely.
Never showed up. So they called since I don't even know when, but whenever they what did they say that what did you call them? My question is not why is it not a code 3 when it first came out?
16.
Yeah, so that last time she was seen, it was early this morning, like 7 o'clock. That's what I'm about to see. I'm about to go check. I just try to get as much information now of her clothing description. Send it to Diaz. So Diaz has a hit in like a big area full of kids. So if you want to help me out with this one, from my signal expert.
None. I mean, you don't have a sense of urgency when you know the definitive answer to it, right? And you don't want to go out and start searching if you know where the body is, because you might even subconsciously, accidentally show them the way, like she did 192, 192, 192. And then she kept leading them to right there in St. Cloud, where we used to, the trail behind she over and over and over. So you don't do that when you know the answer to a question. So she stayed put because apparently there's a phone that they have connected to the wall, right? And she can't go out and search for her daughter. No, it's because they knew where she was.
By any chance, does she have a phone number? Phone?
She does, but she left it at home today. I have it.
You have it.
And I'm reading up her messages.
Okay. How about does she have like Apple Watch?
She's got a device. The only device she's got on her right now is her school laptop.
Her school laptop. Is that trackable?
I
don't think so.
Yeah, it should be.
If the Wi-Fi is turned on, it'll try to connect to any Wi-Fi. So if I like circle here.
Well, yeah, she know all the history of LA. She just hang out.
Possibly, I don't know. She got dropped off. She was like, so she's gonna Belarus by his car. So she didn't want to be dropped off at school. She wanted to be dropped off like half a block away, so she can walk.
Although that's a complete and utter lie, in my opinion, because Stephan never took Maddie to school. So when did she tell them that she didn't want to be dropped off in that hoopty? He had never taken her to school, and he had never taken her in his car. He was driving around either the Cadillac or, well, not that, because that one was in the shop getting done. So it's not like she was riding around with them and she was saying, oh, I'm embarrassed of it. No, that was the story that they concocted with each other to deflect from the situation that happened and to justify why Stephan Sterns dropped her off near the church and why she needed to walk, because he figured, well, if I dropped her off from far and she didn't make it, we have a little bit of time in between to figure out what to do, and they're not going to find her body, which he didn't know he was going to get a flat tire, or he probably would have taken her all the way to where the gators were, where, in my opinion, Jen Soto led him to and the police to. All right, let's keep going. Look at that face. She's scared. Watch this.
It's an image thing. She's in a face.
But he dropped her off half a block away and drove away.
That's it.
Did she have a
Your
motor
story.
photo?
No, we called
She
school.
was walking in that direction. She was rifling through her backpack, just looking for something. I thought maybe she was just looking for headphones before she caught her walking on.
Yeah.
But she was just kind of, shambling over in that direction. It looked the same as any other morning.
Okay.
What was the last thing you asked?
If she went to school, maybe that's what it was.
So I got confirmation from the school that she never made it. They sent me an email saying she didn't make it. But I also spoke to her or emailed one of her teachers directly, and he looked at all her attendance for all her periods and told me she didn't make it at all today.
Okay.
Say it again? No, she's supposed to have a book bag. She was supposed to go to school, but didn't go to school today. Okay.
All right, listen up, guys. Here's the commentary.
Okay, now I'm going to show you what I think is really going on.
Now, it's good to have an outside perspective. You're absolutely right, folks. It is. And officers think this way. Cold case detectives will come back and they'll give you a perspective like Grish is doing. So a fresh set of eyes, a different team, and hopefully this can contribute to something that they look at and say, wow, and go back and talk to Jen. If they can get a meeting with her and her lawyer, she does not. Let me repeat that. She does not have immunity. She only had that one-time immunity so they could make sure that she could tell them anything that would help with the case. And if she lied, then it wouldn't be immunity. So it's a one-time immunity. They wanted to see if she would say, like, okay, yeah, he had that gun in the room and this happened, or anything. All right, any kind of thing to slip up. But no, she did not. She stuck to that story that her and Stephan concocted when they were chit-chatting at the desk together while he was washing blankets and coming back and forth in and out, her setting her alibi. That's what they did. That's when they discussed it, because the ball game changed when he had her in the trunk and it was daylight and all this stuff was going down. Both of them were panicking. They had to concoct the story and they stuck to it, except for the clothes. They couldn't identify the clothes she was wearing because Jen said she was wearing one thing twice. She said shorts and a hoodie, and then Stephan corrected her. She said that in 2 different interviews. They just couldn't get that part right. All right, most of it is beautifully scripted.
On here.
Okay. It's just like, did she have any places that you guys know that she'll usually be at? Any friend's house? Any places that she likes to hang out?
Not typically,
No.
Not typically.
No.
Okay.
Something catches Stephanie's attention. Jen is just looking at the cop. Stephan is looking at the cop, but something's going on with his face.
1 second. Let me see.
Remember this guy?
Yeah, the cousin, the unknown cousin. There he is.
He's the one that was in the car in front of the cop. Black tee, purple shorts, the cousin that you don't know, but you know about. And I'm going this far to show you that it's the same person, because there will be someone that'll say, that's not the same person as before. So shout out to Marilyn Monroe for preventing.
Right. And when they show that, you guys, this is just family giving you connections to the family, who and what. Now, Stephanie is Jen Soto's sister. She's the one that started the GoFundMe for the Madeline Soto burial. And in fact, they didn't use it for that. They were donated it. Jen Soto took it over and it was gone. They spent it. Okay. So she is in fact also backing Jen Soto. I can't even say how. I'm just trust me when I say that they are diehard Jen Soto, and they do not think that she did anything wrong. Now, whether they feel that way or the mom feels that way, they're not saying it, but they are in fact protecting her. All right.
Weird comments.
Thank you.
No problem. And what school she goes to?
Jen and Stephan's story is so scripted that the police officer had to ask them for the name of Madeline's school. They're so far into the details that they completely forget about the basic necessary information. You see
Right?
where Stephan is standing? Now watch this.
125.
Now, who do you think he's looking at like that?
Stephan. Stephan's the only other male in there.
Do you guys have?
You already know that this is in world time. It's actually 7:38 and 7 seconds, but we're going to time something from 7:38 and 8 seconds.
Yeah, this is fantastic. I wanted to do that before because I wanted to see how long. And Grish, thank you for doing that, my man. You guys go over to @Grish, and I dropped the link below. Now, you know what? Sometimes people get arrested on scams like that. So we tried to put out the COVID scams that Jen did, the money that she didn't pay back, the money that they just gave her a relief fund and didn't make her pay back. And we know she didn't own a company, and we know her mom knows all the tax loops. Sometimes the officers will go in and they'll arrest her over like GoFundMe money or scamming COVID. So we want to do everything we can. We want to give as much attention to this case and as much attention to Jen Soto so that the officers will look at her and say, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. Why didn't I look at that timeline? Maybe we can get her back in here and talk about XYZ and cross all those. But right now, Stephan's a focus and prosecution is rushing to get all the evidence in because trials are coming up, right? All right, let's keep going.
Do you have a picture of her?
Yep.
Also, now that we're all, I stopped for a second. You guys, there's 573 people in chat. If you do your girl, Jay, from Guilty of Crime a favor and hit that like button. If you have not subscribed, please do. And if you can get a membership, please support the channel. Also, super chat, super stickers, all that, Cash App, Venmo. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Microwave Cheese, for the $10 super chat. Yep, she's already a professional scammer. Absolutely. And in my opinion, and I'll tell you, there's some scams going on. If you look up Yolanda, I found some things that she's doing behind the scenes as well. I found a lawsuit behind the scenes that she has going on with Walmart, and I've seen some other things that don't seem to line up. I didn't want to look into Yolanda Soto, but I had to. And when I did, it wasn't good, in my opinion, and allegedly. So just know, professional family of scammers, in my opinion. All right, let's go.
We're going to see how long it takes Jen to give the police officer a photograph of Madeline. It looks like Jen's other sister knows this will be a daunting task.
Can you airdrop it to me?
If you guys have... Also, if any of you have acid flashbacks, warning, this may cause flashbacks, you guys. All right, there's a good point to this, though.
Yeah, I know. Let me see which picture. I don't know which picture.
Oh, she knows
Shouldn't
everything.
Jen have a photo ready for this? Jen's mom says, from yesterday. And Jen's acting like she doesn't know which picture from yesterday.
Yeah, I know. Let me see which picture. I don't know which picture.
Clearly, this is a struggle for Jen. Look close. See that vein popping out of her head right there? It is pumping extra blood to the left side of her brain. The left side of your brain is for problem solving and things like that. And this is a daunting task for Jen at this moment.
Right. And those are just small telltales.
Recently, probably from the birthday party, right?
Here goes Stephan, basically repeating what Jen's mom just said.
Yep.
That probably has Jen's blood boiling at this point. And you know Stephan probably has a picture, but you know he can't pull that phone out because it's got high voltage and radiation coming from it.
That too.
Yeah, but I wasn't there, so I have to look at.
And why did she have to remind him that she wasn't there? That pissed her off, though. That really pissed her off when she said, yeah, but I wasn't there. I have to look it up. That made her mad because lots of people were not happy that she wasn't there. And all of us criticize. Now, these are all just like observations, right? When we're looking at body language and that she was a potato and didn't go to her daughter's party, those are all just things that we don't appreciate. But that's not something you can get arrested for, okay? But we're looking at things that she could get arrested for and why the prosecution should continue to look at Jen Soto, why the law enforcement should continue to look at Jen Soto.
You recently called from birthday party, right?
Yeah, but I was there, so I have to look at.
Jen is now going through social media to try to find a photo from her daughter's birthday party yesterday. You notice how no one in that room is helping her out.
And she's still looking, folks. And anybody that doesn't know who Jen Soto's mom is, this is Yolanda Zambrano. As a matter of fact, we're going to do that this week. We're going to show the interview of Yolanda. She was the first interview on Telemundo, and we have that. And thank you to Synth for translating that. We showed a Telemundo one the other day, but she wasn't on that. She was on Telemundo, and we have that with it translated. So that's Jen's mom, and that's Jen's sister. Jen's mom, Yolanda, Stephan Soto, and Stinky Sterns.
I can't see what that says, but the officer clearly takes this call and just lets Jen keep searching.
Go ahead. That's what I'm about to grab right now. Yeah.
Thank you, Josephine Fernandez. Appreciate you.
Looks like everybody's about to leave. They're giving Abuela hugs, and you don't see Jen getting any kind of affection from her family.
No.
Finally, Jen has found a photo.
Finally, she has found a photo. Breaking news. All right, real quick. No, I have not heard of a Parvin Martinez. If anybody in the area that is covering this and setting up the remembrance, if you guys know about a Parvin Martinez, I do not recommend anybody donating to any GoFundMe until we hear otherwise. So do not donate to that. What I was told, because the $16,000 didn't get paid to where it was supposed to go, not to donate to any other GoFundMes that are in Madeline Soto's name. So please don't do that unless you guys know who it is.
The vein is still popping out of Jen's head.
Look at that face. She's scared, you guys.
I got you.
Why is Jen looking like she doesn't know how to airdrop a photo?
Right?
Now look at the fear in Stephan's eyes.
Oh, yeah. We know he's scared. She looks even more scared, though.
It's on WhatsApp. That's fine.
I saved it to my photos, so you could.
You saved it to your photos?
Yeah,
Perfect.
If Jen is just now saving that to her photos, that means she didn't have a photo.
Of course not. She says that.
Okay, perfect. Give me a second.
1 minute and 42 seconds is the time it took for Jen to find a photo of her daughter to send to the police.
Damn, that was a good call, my man.
I'm gonna send it out.
Yeah, none of these are crimes still, but understanding why Jen has zero emotions. Many people say it's because of the heavy medication that she was on, you guys. So you can't say a mother because she's not crying or she doesn't say her daughter's name that she's guilty. But we have so many other things to say that she's guilty. So let's keep looking at that. Yeah, momster.
Right now, my other guys.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Yeah, I agree. Now, we've looked back at many other interviews with moms that not only we know came back and were convicted later on, we saw the interview that they had with like the police department or the news, and then it comes back, they're convicted a year or two later. That's what I believe we're going to look at here. Again, there's so many circumstantial pieces like her letting Maddie sleep with Stephan, giving access, things like that, but they don't have direct evidence or they would have her arrested. That I agree with. So we will probably go back and say, well, that's why she wasn't crying. That's why she wasn't emotional. Because let me tell you, her being all de-rugged up just because she takes all these Xanax, she's used to it, guys. It's not like it's her first rodeo. It's not her first day where she's like narking out. She's been taking it, which gives her a tolerance. She has a tolerance when she's begging officers to get into the apartment to get her meds. That's all she cares about, not anything else. Not I want to be back here. I want to be in my apartment because if Maddie returns home, I want to be here for Maddie. No, I need to get my pills so Stephan and I can go get a hotel. Then she calls Stephan's dad, gets a hotel, tells him to come over, get him a lawyer. Those are her concerns, not her daughter.
A minute and 45 seconds of this body cam footage is redacted.
So they called since I don't even know when.
I'm just being nosy, but the second icon there is the Kissimmee Police Department app.
But whenever what did you say? What did you call? My question is not why is it not a code 3?
A code 3 is a police emergency response that requires an expedited response using lights and sirens. It's used when there's an immediate danger to public safety or an officer.
When it first came out.
There's a lot of background noise. I want to hear what they're saying.
When it first came out. Yeah, so that last time she was seen, it was early this morning, like 7 o'clock. That's what I'm about to see. I'm about to go check. I just try to get as much information now of her clothing description, send it to D3ath, so D3ath has a hit in like a big area full of kids. So if you want to help me out with this one. Yeah. So my signal is expert.
Thank you so much, Synth, for the 10 Guilty of Crime memberships. I was on mute. I know I had to take a call from my contractor. You guys know I'm getting work done right now and there's a lot going on. Thank you, Synth. I appreciate you guys all for being here. And I know I was muted for a second, but let's keep going, you guys. If you guys chat and you continue to hit the like and all that, you'll get a chance at a membership. I've been putting out a lot more content and we have more to come for members only. So let's keep going. Yes.
You see how there's 4 people sitting on that couch there?
This is funny.
Look over to the next couch and there's no one sitting there.
Now, nobody likes Stephan Sterns, you guys. Nobody wanted him around. Nobody could understand why Jen kept him around. And now we know why we think she kept him around, because there was a transaction between her and Stephan Sterns. She gave Sterns what he needed. He gave her what she needed. And he contributed to her companionship because we know she couldn't be alone, right? So welcome, Chief, our guilty of crime boyfriend. Welcome.
There, just someone's purse. Whose purse do you think that is?
This is funny. That's interesting. Jen Soto's, Jen the Potato Soto's purse. Thank you, Maggie M, for becoming a member. Appreciate you. I wish. Look at that lonely purse.
It's like, not only do they not want to be near Stephan and Jen, they don't want to be near anything that belongs to them.
By any chance, does she have a phone number or a phone?
She does, but she left it at home today. I have it.
You have it.
And I've already gone through her messages.
Okay. How about, did she have like Apple Watch? How about, did she have like Apple Watch?
Look at that face. She's scared,
Do
you
you
guys.
think anyone should have a reaction like Jen is having right now when bringing up a device that could be traceable to find their missing child?
Look at that. Yes, and I agree with that, Josephine. I absolutely think that they're still gathering evidence and they still are probably tracking and tracing calls. In a case like this, I cannot imagine that they wouldn't be doing that. Dimshin said, I just watched the channel, huh? Wait till you see the flying. Yes, we have. It's very interesting that he does that. His is just a visual perspective. It's because Jen Soto was crying in one of those videos, but there were no tears. And so he kept throwing rolls at it. But the way he breaks it down, when he puts the timelines on how Stephan Sterns, the stepdad and ex-boyfriend, and why he had to have that title in order to continue, again, even being in the room with the family, they did not want a thing to do with him, but he had to be there because he was the last person to see Maddie. He dropped her off, so she had to be there. They didn't want him there at all.
Need to wrap this up.
Okay, one more question. Does anybody use your phone other than you?
No, except for the day that we were sitting in front of my house and forensics was in the house.
His dad?
That was the only time I've ever let anyone use my phone, and that was Stephan. Stephan had my phone.
What about, do you wear an Apple Watch?
Yes.
Does it track any of your movements or anything like that you know of? Do you sleep with your watch on?
No, I hardly ever put it on.
And the way she does answer these questions, listen closely, because every time they ask her a question that she doesn't want to answer, you can hear her tone drop and she almost whispers. So this one, she's like, thank God I wasn't wearing that watch because it couldn't track me since I said I was sleeping the whole time. I went to bed at 11. Stephan and Maddie, I sent to bed and I was sleeping. I didn't wake up the next day until 9 when Stephan came in and said, oh, like a good boyfriend, let me take the dog for a potty walk. And then, I didn't wake up till 10. And then when I did wake up, I went to my blood appointment. Then I came back and we chit-chatted. I had no idea that Maddie was in the trunk of the car the whole time. How is that possible? How could Maddie be in the trunk even though I told you that she was strangled and in the trunk and exactly where Stephan was going to take her? I have no idea. What? My goodness.
Honestly.
All right.
She's scared.
I think the way that Jen answered that was pretty weird. Like, why would you go so far as to say how often you wear your Apple Watch?
Walk away. Yeah, she's got a device, the only device she's got on.
Ding, ding, ding.
Walk away. She's got a device, the only device she's got on her right now is her school laptop.
Her school laptop, is that trackable?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Look at that. Look at those. Yeah,
The reactions of Jen's friends and family throughout all this should speak for themselves. But just imagine if you were related to Jen and she's saying the things that she's saying.
Look at her in the background.
Wi-Fi's turned on. It'll try to connect to new Wi-Fi.
Of course, this is my opinion, but this is the part that convinced me that Jen knew the whole time where Maddie's laptop was.
Well, I got to tell you, the moment she said, no, you can't track it. And that was all she was worried about was that. And then it's weird that they didn't notice that there was one crock they threw away and one left in the room. They didn't even catch that. Like they should have got the other crock and threw it out or tried to dispose of it. And welcome, Coco Cutie. Thank you so much for the $4.99 super sticker. I appreciate you. I hope that you get a membership. I hope you come around more. Love you guys. Yeah, what a beautiful group of people we have here tonight. Thank you so much. And your all opinions are welcome. Everybody's opinion is welcome. We're all good. As long as you keep it with respect, all good. We want you here. That is crazy.
Watching Jen say those things about the devices is crazy. But imagine sitting there in that room, watching her say that in real time. You can't react normally, so you have to go with the group chat. It looks like Natalie gets a text and she checks her phone. I don't know who this guy is talking to Stephan, but watch what he does when he gets that notification. We've all done this. When you're showing someone something on your phone and then you get a text from somebody or something pops up and you're like, oh, then you try to back up real quick so they can't look at your screen anymore.
Right? He didn't want him to see what.
Now look at Stephan, still looking at this man's phone. I think that Jen can kind of tell what's going on behind her, and she's trying to keep the police officer's attention.
I agree. And I wonder what that guy was saying. I wonder if another family member had texted him and said, you see how they're acting? Because they were all down on their phone texting somebody, you guys. So either they were in there texting each other, because if you noticed, there wasn't a lot of conversation, but there were a lot of eyes on Jen and Stephan from the background. And I do wonder if they were texting each other like, you see what's happening? Listen to what they're saying. Black Knight, how does she know if the computer can be tracked? I'm going to tell you that she was hoping it couldn't be tracked, because the moment they knew that it could be tracked, or if it could, and they found it in a dumpster, there's game over right there. We know that it got thrown out. How did it get thrown out by her house if when Stephan dropped her off, she meandered her way over and she was digging through her backpack? How is that a possibility? She was hoping, in my opinion. All right.
Directed at her. Now Stephan doesn't have anyone to talk to, so he goes back over to where Jen is talking to the police officer. Now I'm going to go back a few seconds to where Stephan is all in that guy's phone, and you're going to watch it where it's panned out, and you're going to see what Jen's doing that whole time. This is the part where I can tell that.
You guys, that's funny. Look at her picture. And she's like, did I capture that? Oh my goodness. You guys should put that on pause. Wow. Okay. I had to say that. That is a weird pose. Jen is weird. Look at his face there. This great capturing, Grish.
That Jen can tell what's going on behind her, as far as Natalie and the other guy receiving a text at the same time, and Jen trying to keep the police officer's attention on her.
Possibly, I don't know. She got dropped off. She was like, so she embarrassed by his car. So she didn't want to be dropped off at school. She wanted to be dropped off like half a block away. So she embarrassed by his car. So she didn't want to be dropped.
She looks crazy right there, boy.
At school, she wanted to be dropped off like half a block away.
Now Jen's in full script mode, but Stephan's back to chime in, and it doesn't seem like Jen likes that too much.
She can walk.
Send him this thing, she's in the face. Send him this thing, she's in the face.
This whole thing about Madeline being embarrassed by Stephan's car, I couldn't imagine being a kid and telling whoever was giving me a ride to school, you know what, drop me off down the street. Your car is kind of, never. And that's how I can tell it's not true, because neither one of them talk about their initial response to hearing that.
But he dropped her off half a block away and drove away.
Okay. Did she ever go to school?
Deception Detective says that too. When someone gets too caught up in the script, but they can't even pay attention to the basic details, and not saying they didn't say to Maddie like, "Oh, you can't be embarrassed of him. That's his car," or anything. It's just something in the script. We do know that because he didn't take her to school any other day, so there was no time that she would have said, "I don't want you to take me in that car." And Jen wasn't awake at 7 or 7:30 in the morning when he took the body out. So how would she know that? Again, script, and more scripts. Welcome, Millie. Good to see you. Yeah, may she rest in peace. We're on day 1 of 6, remembering Maddie.
No, we called school.
She was walking in that direction. She was rifling through her backpack, just looking for something. I thought maybe she was just looking for headphones before she caught her walking on.
Yeah.
But she was just kind of, shambling over in that direction. It looked the same as in the other morning.
Okay.
The other morning.
Okay.
What was the last thing you asked?
If she went to school, maybe that's what
So I got confirmation from the school that she never made it. They sent me an email saying she didn't make it. But I also spoke to her or emailed one of her teachers directly, and he looked at all her attendance for all her periods.
And there goes Big Cuz in the Marilyn Monroe shirt watching the whole thing.
There's the cousin that no one knows.
And told me she'd make it at all today.
Okay.
Jen's mom standing right there.
Say it again? No, she's supposed to have a book bag. She was supposed to go to school, but didn't go to school today.
After part 2, I got a lot of questions about what I meant with perception versus reality. Perception versus reality is about how Jen and Stephan characterize their relationship based on how others would perceive it. For example, Jen told the police different reasons for why Stephan moved into bedroom number 4 and different reasons for why he moved out. Either way.
Now pay attention to the different reasons Jen Soto gives for Stephan moving, Stephan leaving. They never really talk about like a bad breakup or anything like that. It's always very cordial and they're best friends. And then catch this on the room. Take a look at that room and just remember, you guys have seen it 20 other times. You've seen the room with the 4 locks on it with a tripod, and it looks like a hotel room. It really does. It looks like a hotel room. Everything's white. There are no defining marks on the walls, no pictures, nothing, just white bedding, dresser, and that with nothing really on it. Nothing that would define that room to say, oh shit, I was over at that lady's house and I saw that room. You know, when you're whatever he's uploading in pictures, you wouldn't know where to look. So pay attention to that and pay attention what she talks about his hoarding. They also say that he was very messy and he collected things. If he was living there, then why did that room not have his collectibles and his junk? That room was pristine. Why? All right, pay attention. I didn't even think about that before because I don't remember her talking about, but that's where he was supposed to have lived, you guys. How is that possible? And thank you, Rosie, for the 99-cent super sticker. Let's keep going.
Stephan still had access to the house and Madeline. How can she say he moved out in December and 2 months later the man still has a gate clicker, a key to the house, a key to that room, and that room still have his bed, a TV, a dresser full of clothes, and a nightstand with a gun in the drawer?
Look at that.
I wanted the timeline that I built from Jen's March 1st interview to explain perception versus reality and a few other things. But since it didn't explain perception versus reality, it's probably not going to explain a lot of other things. So we're going to go over the March 1st interview again and make a more detailed timeline.
So what did you meet Stephen for Stephan?
I met Stephan
All right, here's the timeline again, you guys.
in 2017.
Thank you so much, Microwave.
We both worked for Eco Homes,
All right,
a real estate company.
Let's connect the
I would get
pieces.
appointments, and he worked in the office doing like warranty work.
Now, I believe he was starting to groom Jen. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that she didn't know and she didn't contribute, but predators like Stephan know what they're doing. They know who they're looking for. They ask questions, and she had a perfect daughter at the perfect age. So he had all the privileges to have access to a woman that had a daughter that was in his age range that he was looking for, without having to actually have sexual encounters with Jen Soto for the first year to 18 months. So pay attention. Yeah, Stephan Sterns is everything with he absolutely is a groomer. I absolutely believe he was not only targeting Jen, but he was targeting other women when he was not with Jen and he was living down there. The women that he would try to date always had children, or always talked about something weird with Stephan, his weird sex things, and I believe that he absolutely was grooming other women. And Jen panned out. Him and Jen gave each other exactly what they needed. She said, yeah, we're going to listen here right now.
We met as coworkers.
Yeah, they were coworkers, but they both worked for Stephan's father, which makes things a little bit different, especially knowing that Stephan's a predator. This is my opinion, but I think that Stephan knew Jen's personal information before she even started working there.
We became really good friends. We were best friends for like a year.
Best friends.
And then eventually I asked him if he wanted to hook up, and he said, sure.
I don't think it happened quite like that.
Give me access.
I think that they were coworkers, but they didn't work at that place for a year.
Yep.
So I think that Stephan, at that point that they stopped working there, that he was selling her benzos and she got more dependent on them. And after she lost her job, she didn't have the money to pay for them, upon which she offered herself up.
Damn, like that, huh? Yeah, I really do think that they had this mutually beneficial relationship where either she would get pills for him when she couldn't get them. Jen would get them with a prescription, and if they needed to get street scripts, they would sell or trade or buy. Or I wouldn't say buy, the buying part, but the selling, the CSAM. They had ways of getting money, and it's all going to come out with Stephan in his trial. But how do we connect that to Jen? Jen was pretty smart, in which they used his phone, or he used his phone, and hers was very separate. So I just wonder how it's going to pan out. But they are going to find that because they've got 35,000 images of that, of course. But how did that connect to Jen? Was he just sending her money and saying, this is for rent, this is for groceries, what were their transactions like? We don't know that yet. We don't know what their transactions with money was, but we do know the transactions with Maddie, and I wonder how that would line up.
And yeah.
Those paper towels.
You said 17, 18. Did you live in Orlando, Kissimmee? Where were you guys staying around?
Kissimmee.
Yeah, did you guys live together in 17?
He technically lived at his parents' house, but he was staying at my house all the time.
Okay.
I believe that. But I think that situation also applies to when he, quote unquote, moved out in December of 2023. He technically lived at his parents', but he stayed over there all the time.
Same house you're in now or a different house?
Wait, I take it back. In 2017, he wasn't staying over my house. It started in 2018 when we started hooking up. And
she says when we started hooking up, but that was after she corrected herself when she said he started hooking up. When he started hooking up with who?
He started sleeping over my house.
Okay.
And what were your next question?
Was that in the current
Yes.
house you live in now?
Yes.
Okay. How long you lived in that house?
On and off.
Now, pay attention to the timeline here. This is crazy because we've heard it, but we didn't see it in this way. No wonder Maddie was all over the place. They would move, and then when it didn't work out in a few months because nobody wanted Stephan there, no one wanted this weird dynamic, they had to get a place together. So they'd have to move and then move somewhere else and then move somewhere else. And then they got their own place, and that didn't work out because either Stephan wasn't getting what he needed or they didn't have enough money. And then they'd move somewhere else. And then when they moved into the condo, they blamed, or Jen blames her father, which in my opinion is very far from the truth. Now, she does tell the truth about him saying he was going to sell the place. We went back and looked at this a long time ago. He put the condo up for sale, and then Jen moved in right after that. And yes, she was renting out rooms, but I think she was making money off of those rooms being rented out. That's why she put Maddie aside. That's why she had Stephan's dad pay the $600, but they were making money from the $600 room. And that you can see the room. It has a bottle, all the necessities to make CSAM. No marks anywhere, fresh white bedding, walls, and the tripod with the gun and the loop, you guys. What else could you get out of that room?
Because at one point we moved close to where his parents live right now in they live in Northport, Florida, Sarasota County. I lived in Port Charlotte, which is Charlotte County, the county right next door. We had an apartment there for like 6 to 8 months. We moved down there because, again, Stephan was promised a job and that fell through.
Again, Stephan was offered a job, but that fell through. The way that Jen is explaining this, you would think that she was moving in with Stephan by herself. But in reality, she took Madeline out of school in the middle of the school year to move 3 hours away into an apartment with Stephan. And this was during the pandemic. In my opinion, she needed to be closer to Stephan so she can get her stuff and he can do his CSAM thing. So they had to move in together because they both live with their parents.
So we supported ourselves in this tiny apartment for a little while until I ran out of funds.
Do you remember what year that was?
2020.
You notice how she doesn't even mention Madeline when she's talking about moving from place to place?
Nope.
She doesn't think about how all that moving would affect her because she doesn't.
And how it would affect her schooling and all the things that she says about her daughter being this, and this. Oh no, but let's just say that she has ADHD and possible autism. That's why she does those things, because of that, not because of what she's doing. All right, Synth, thank you for the $5 super chat. Thought, this is why I think that's why Jennifer Soto so long to ID Stephan Sterns' peen, because she had already seen it or do it with Stephan Sterns. So she was letting Stephan Sterns, yeah, absolutely. She, in my opinion, she absolutely was letting that happen. There's no other way. There's no other way about that. Now, some people dispute on whether she knew about that when Maddie's life was gone. Yeah, she talks about the body. That people are saying are still in dispute. My mind's made up that she knew. Now, as far as the CSAM, yeah, that's not even a question.
Care because she only cares about Jennifer.
So when did you live in Port Charlotte? 2020.
Look at her. Oh no.
I don't remember what month I moved in, but I remember moving out in November.
Of 2020.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it was some.
In Stephan's CSAM paperwork, it shows the first file being made in 2019, and then there's a gap between 2019 and 2022. But I feel like there was a lot of abuse going on at that Port Charlotte apartment, being that Madeline was isolated 3 hours away from her family.
Now, I got to tell you, that gap is filled in with the crime crew and Jen Soto's ex-roommate. She filled in the gap for us because she lived there between 2019 and 2020, and that's when Juan lived there at the same time. Now, when Juan lived there, there was no documentation and the roommate of Madeline being abused, okay? And they weren't doing what they did. Maddie had her own room, which was one of the rooms upstairs. She didn't have that half room. Jen was upstairs with Stephan, and Juan was downstairs, but the living room was still a living room. So they were forced to be in the living room, not just sitting in bed all the time doing weird stuff and being groomed, right? Juan was watching that. The moment that Juan moved out and that last roommate, the CSAM started and the documentation came. So let's talk about filling those blanks in. Thank you, Foxy Amazon, for the $2 super chat. Check your email, Fearless Leader. Thank you. I will.
And at 9 years old, you probably don't have a cell phone.
My daughter does.
You able me?
That's what I do. So you go, we need to later. 13. In 2017. So 2018.
6.
6. For my 2.
At the same time, no. But
Okay.
I've had ex-husbands and ex-boyfriends live in that same house before.
Got it. You moved to Port Charlotte sometime in 2020 for a few months.
Yeah.
And then you came back to the same house.
After Port Charlotte, I went back to my mom's house for a little while.
Where's that?
In Hunters Creek, Florida.
Got it.
Even before Port Charlotte, actually, the few months before I was in Port Charlotte, I was living at my mom's house.
With Stephan.
You know, if you guys are confused about the paper towel, she at one point pretends to cry and there are no tears. So that's why Grish, that made this video, keeps on throwing paper towels at her and they're floating around. That's what that means. It's just funny. We're just kind of making fun of Jen. And she talks about it like nothing's wrong with what she did.
Jen's talking like it's just her doing all this moving, but it's her and Madeline. They moved out of Jen's dad's house and into Jen's mom's house, then out of Jen's mom's house and into the Port Charlotte apartment, then out of the Port Charlotte apartment and into Jen's mom's house, then out of Jen's mom's house and back into Jen's dad's house.
Doesn't that sound crazy? And Stephan followed her.
Decided he wanted to renovate the house and
why do you think Stephan followed her, you guys? You think it had to do with the access that he had to Maddie, or do you think it's because he loved Jen so much? Because all that time he was there just following her around and moving. They definitely had a beneficial relationship financially and then giving the access to Maddie. So sad. Justice for Maddie, that she gets complete and utter justice, which means that Jen Soto gets arrested.
Possibly sell it. So he told us to get out. So March 2020, so around COVID time, like 2 weeks after COVID was announced, I moved in with my mom.
Okay.
And I lived with her for a little bit. And then the Port Charlotte apartment happened. We moved to Port Charlotte, were there for a few months, came back to live with my mom, was there for a few months, and then I decided to move back. That he was moving out and like getting an RV and like living the RV life.
Yeah.
So he needed somebody to take care of the house for him. So I said, yeah, I would do it, of course. So I moved in. I moved into his bedroom, downstairs, the master bedroom.
There you go. There it is.
I can't be the only one that noticed how Jen explains this like she was doing her father a favor. Like he needed her to move in.
Eventually, Stephan did come.
Now, remember, right after this interview, they found Maddie's body. Now, she says found the body. Did you guys find the body? She talks about Maddie as a body. So, yeah, absolutely what you're saying. Again, it's not a crime to not have emotions or to have weird hand motions and to be weird or to be a potato. It's not the paper towels. Having a bunch of paper towels and not crying is not, but it's a telltale sign. And when you're a true crimer, when you're in this true crime community and you have seen it and you have done it and you've seen all the mothers that do this and that you later find out that are guilty, then you realize, oh, well, that's why. This is what we are seeing. Okay. Thank you, Foxy.
A few years. It wasn't until like June of last year that we'll go upstairs to the guest bedroom upstairs because I just
hit the like button, folks.
He's not a very clean guy. He's kind of a little hoarder and a collector. So just my house.
All right, so him being a hoarder and collector and her sending Stephan upstairs because he's a hoarder and collector, you send him upstairs to hoard and collect the stuff upstairs. But there was no hoarding and collecting stuff upstairs, folks. It was just a white bedroom with countertops that were nice and neat, nothing on the walls, no toys, no nothing. So think about that. Chew on that one for a bit. What she's saying makes no sense at all. All right. That's why now there's other reasons, folks. There's other reasons.
House was always a mess and never the way that I wanted it to look. Or the clutter just gave me anxiety. So I asked him to move upstairs and he did.
Notice how Jen doesn't say the reason that Stephan moved to bedroom number 4 is because of an issue in their relationship.
Never.
It was because he's a collector or hoarder or whatever she calls him.
He lived upstairs until March. I'm sorry.
Nothing.
Until December of last year. And then he moved to Northport, Florida with his parents. But they had promised him a job, but that fell through.
Notice how Jen didn't say the reason that he moved out is because they broke up.
So
She
we
never
were in the
says
process
that.
of
This is the first timeline I made based on the way that Jen explained it.
Yes, they are. They are citizens. All right, that's crazy right there, you guys. So that she never really talked about that, and no wonder her mom couldn't get behind her and Stephan. Didn't like him. I mean, she was bouncing around. So this is when she met Stephan, was in 2017, and she worked for his dad at Eco Home Eco Home. And they were co-workers, and that was when they hung out. He knew she had a daughter. He was already grooming by then. We don't see pictures yet. Nothing gets documented until way over here. So all this time he's meeting Jen. Hey, you want to hook up? Sure. And then it starts. Then after he's groomed her how long and they're best friends, he starts staying over, and then they stay over to Port Charlotte with Yolanda. Now in 2020 is when Jen was scamming those COVID funds and saying that she had workers for her and getting the money back. So right in that time when she's living with Yolanda, and then back, Stephan Sterns moves back in 2021. Usual house, go upstairs, move out, and then back to Northport. And then from Northport, Stephan comes back after being gone for a month, supposedly, and Maddie being happier, more alive, getting student of the month. That's crazy. All right.
And this is a more detailed timeline based on the events that were explained by Jen Soto to the detective.
Is insane.
So you have each row representing a year, each column is a month, and they're all color coded based on the events and also the living situation of both Jen and Stephan. In addition to the timeline, we have a mind map with the people close to the situation. Starting with Jen Soto at the center, she's connected to Eco Homes, where she met Stephan. Stephan and his parents are connected to Eco Homes. Next are the people that Jen is and was connected to personally. Next are the people that Jen is and was connected to personally from 2017 when she worked at Eco Homes. Clockwise from the far left is Stephan, not to be confused with Predator Stephan. Stephan was,
and this is a good map for you guys. It's a good map for the police. I hope the police have this all mapped out already, right? There's the Venetian Bay apartment, and then Angelica, we've heard from her, the roommate, Natalie Rosero, she lived there. Now Angelica was the one that was being pictured, under the door by Stephan Sterns. He was taking pictures of her while in the bathroom, hundreds of pictures, by the way, in one day. And I believe Jen knew about that because she talks about that. Marcy, thank you so much for the $4.99 super sticker. And then you've got Yolanda, her mom, Juan, Stephanie. There's the family you got all over here, with Yolanda being in the middle. All right, let's keep going. That's definitely a good graph.
Is Jen's ex-husband. They divorced in 2017. Stephan had a daughter from a previous relationship. He lived in the house on Venetian Bay. Next is Natalie Rosero. She's Jen's roommate at Venetian Bay. She stays in room number 2. She also has a son. Then we have Angela Negro. She's one of Jen's roommates, and she's in room number 3. Next is Yolanda Zambrano. She's Jen's mother and Madeline's maternal grandmother. She owns the business that was the location where the initial police interview was. Then there's Stephanie Soto, who's Jen's sister. Then Juan Soto, who is Jen's father and Madeline's maternal grandfather. He is the owner of the Venetian Bay condo.
Yes, he is.
And of course, Madeline in the lower right-hand corner. Jim mentioned how her father wanted to sell the Venetian Bay condo when COVID hit, and that's true. It was listed for sale in February 2020 and delisted a month later.
Yep, we found all that.
Since a lot of evidence was found on the respective devices, let's add those to this.
Yes, this is a tangled web, you guys.
Eco Homes was gone by 2018, so let's remove that. As I theorized before, Jen and Stephan's relationship was transactional. Jen has money, Stephan has Zans. Stephan's primary...
Right, now this gives you a better idea, and it goes vice versa too, right? So Jen has money, then she gets Xans, but she's also given, there's a transactional relationship with them as far as Maddie goes, and we will talk about that too. But I think it went both ways. I think Stephan also needed Adderall. He was up late at night doing the CSAM stuff. That's why he slept all day and just didn't do anything else, right? So this whole web is, I hope the police have looked at this and connected these types of things and looked at Jen Soto's watch and all the other things connected to her.
Primary goal in this is to get closer to Madeline, but he can't do that because he has no
Yes.
legitimate reason to be around her.
Right.
As a man, if I had a friend who was hanging out with a woman and that woman had a kid, by default, I would think that he would be hanging out with her when her kid wasn't around. But if I notice that my friend is routinely around a woman with a child and that child is around, I'm going to think that my friend and that woman are seriously dating. If they weren't seriously dating, at some point I would ask, what are you doing here? And
Right.
that is what Jen and Stephan would have to avoid. In order to avoid that, they would have to say that they are in a committed relationship. So Jen and Stephan would have to define the status of their relationship based on how others would perceive it. So they can't be just friends. They can't be BFFs. They would have to be in a legit relationship to justify Stephan's consistent presence.
Agreed. Or they would have to be like Jen tries to justify, he's my best friend. I relied on him. He did everything. I trusted him with my whole heart and soul. Like she says at one point, there's no other reason if he's not classified as a stepfather for Maddie to be calling her all throughout the day, for him to be saying, yeah, I bought these little toys for my girlfriend's daughter. How did he classify himself when they were broken up and he was dating other women, but yet coming to the house and still sleeping with Maddie? How is that? How is that justifiable for all three of them to sleep in the bed, Maddie in the middle? And they were doing that. That was happening. The cops have all of those time-stamped photos that he has, and that it all happened throughout the whole time that they were breaking up. He was coming, he was going, he was visiting, and he was seeing other women. All right. Thank you, guys. Let's keep going.
Around Madeline. But someone like Stephan Sterns would want to be around Madeline consistently without Jen having to be there. The only way that won't be perceived as weird is if Stephan and Jen are living together. But Jen is living with either one of her parents and Stephan is living with his parents. So the only way they can live together is if they get their own place on their own. And that's why I believe that they got the apartment in Port Charlotte. Again, this is my opinion, but I believe at some point, when, I don't know, but I think that there was a point that Jen couldn't afford those Xans from Stephan, and she exchanged Madeline for them. And that was
absolutely, and that's a tangled web, folks, and that's what common sense tells you. That's what it would have to be in order for it to be acceptable for so long for this man to be sleeping with her daughter and sleeping with both of them. Now, Black Knight, she was bisexual, we know, because the roommate told us. The roommate that lived there was gay, and she is gay still. She's in the community, and she said Jen would go out to the LGBT things, LGBTQ. So that wasn't an excuse. She really was, and she right, apparently was proud of it. I don't think she really wanted Stephan, and I don't think Stephan really wanted her. I think Stephan all along just wanted Maddie, you guys. It's not a surprise now that you know. And 13 was supposed to go to Tyler after school. Got out that year. Thank you for the $5 super chat, by the way. All right, let's keep going. We've been here for almost an hour and a half, and I thank you guys. There's almost 800 people in chat. I appreciate you.
Stephan's goal from day one. I was looking at the photos on Zillow from when Juan Soto put his condo up on the market back in 2020.
And we saw these pictures after Juan leaves. Stephan comes down. We'll see his ugly hat that we saw him with Maddie when he was a big chubbo following Maddie when she's a tiny little girl. Watch how it transforms. And yes, this is wild.
At that time, Madeline slept in her own bed, in her own room. She always had her own room.
Because
the living
was
room
there.
was a living room. No weird partition. But when Jen moved back in and Juan moved out, all of a sudden Madeline can't have her own room anymore.
Nope.
And Jen tries to put it on her father like, oh, my dad wanted rent. So now we have a detailed timeline.
Look at that,
and we have a visual showing all the connections. Y'all be safe.
All right, that was it. Let me show you some pictures. I appreciate Foxy Amazon, and thanks to Grish for that beautiful video. I love having different perspectives on this case, and you got to think outside the box. Officers have to think outside the box, and that's why cold cases get solved later on when you get a different perspective. So let's take a look at these, and then we'll peace out, you guys. And just remember, we're doing an episode a day for Madeline Soto, leading all the way up until Saturday, the 22nd. Saturday the 22nd is her remembrance at the St. Cloud Park. I have it on my community page. If you guys are local, please go out there and support the cause. Thank you, Synth, again for the 10 guilty of crime memberships. I appreciate you. Take a look at these Stephan pictures. They're pictures that Foxy, thank you, Foxy. She was looking them up, and you can see Stephan, weird little guy, was already probably into that stuff in his school yearbook. I've never seen these before. Estimated age 18, born in 1986. He went to Esperanza High School, and he's from Anaheim, California. He's from California. I remember that. All right, there's the weirdo again. I bet you those people now are ashamed to have either been friends with him or are still friends with him. If I were his friends, I would be ashamed to even say that. He's such a weird guy, and he was doing that stuff from a younger age. From a very young age. Yeah, he looked like a gremlin. He still looks like a gremlin. Sharon, my Leo twin, when he goes to court, the last time he went to court and he shaved his beard down, his big old ears were sticking out. He's an evil monster, you guys. Evil monster. You say, look at the page number. Is it 420, Foxy Amazon? Huh? Was that 420? It's page, oh my goodness, guys. It's page 192. If that's not foretelling, where's Grish? Where's Grish? You guys remember 192, folks? That's where he meandered, was to 192. And yes, I would love to know also when he took Maddie out that morning. All right, there he is again. It's page 192, Stephan Sterns. Yeah. I have a feeling the officers have a video of him leaving the apartment. I have a feeling they're going to be able to narrow it down of him coming through which door and getting something on video where he took her body. Now, he couldn't have taken Maddie's body too early, folks. I got to tell you, he couldn't have taken the body too early, because where would he put her body? If he put her body up in the seat with the seatbelt, somebody could go outside and see her. They weren't exactly parked in a garage. Okay, now listen up. If he put her in the trunk, he's lazy. He's lazy. Okay, so Stephan would have had to put Maddie in the trunk at, let's say, 3 a.m. when everyone was sleeping, and then at 7 a.m, go back outside, take her from the trunk, put her in the seatbelt, and say we're leaving. I don't think that happened. I don't. I think he took her out in the morning when he knew everyone was sleeping, closer to 6 a.m. It's okay if she was out there for half an hour to an hour in the front seat. He went back in the house to tell Jen he needed he strapped her up, and he used the dog belt to keep her up, but her mouth was open, so the officers saw that. All right, yeah, very interesting perspectives here. So that's what that's what I am going to say. In my opinion, he took her out later in the morning, and I think the cops may have a video. All right, there's the weirdo again, looking like a gremlin. He was what is that, on the track team or something like that? I can't tell what that is, but Mafe Martinez, love you. Thank you so much for the $1.99 super sticker, and all of you that are supporting the channel. Yeah, the condo was not that small, actually. It wasn't too small, but the rooms were very close to each other, and they're situated for tourists to come in and out. So it's close to Disney World, kind of, and people that go there would go to maybe the university, maybe get a job. It was all the rooms upstairs and then one downstairs. Yeah, interesting. All right. Yeah, that's his high school pictures. Say a lot. I think back then he was talking about he can get anyone he wanted. So there it is. Varsity, dedication, Byron, overall team. Oh yeah, it's like a track or something. And what's the page number on that? 339, no 420. But there you go. Stephan Demon Sterns. There you go. Yeah, looking like a gremlin. Good call on that. All right, let's take a look if there's any other pictures. Yep, we saw Stephan there. Perfect. The other one was actually better, but thank you for pointing him out. If you guys can see that, there it is. All right, you guys, we've been here for an hour and 38 minutes, and I got a lot more to tell you about this week. I'm bringing new content to you all week long. No, I'm not saying that there's breaking news in the case, but we're remembering Maddie all week long up until Saturday, and we're still going to keep covering it, but I want to do this so that I can, that we can talk about details and what happened between the time that she was taken, the time her body was found, her being buried, aftermath, how the investigation unfolded, and get you guys up to speed till now. All right, let's pull this down. Thank you, Foxy Amazon, and everybody that contributed to the show today. I appreciate you. We get me back here. Love each and every single one of you. Justice for Madeline Soto. We're going to keep doing this, and we're going to make sure that we and we don't just work with ourselves. We talk to the people in Florida, the ladies. We help with the locks of love and other things behind the scenes that I can't really tell you about, but just know it's coming along good. Thank you all for everything you do. I will see you tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to do another Remembering Madeline Soto and Justice for Madeline Soto as we do it. Good night, everybody. Love you all. Peace out.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?